A royal source has reportedly said that peace talks between Prince Harry and the royal family will take place before the coronation. The source told The Times, "It's going to take flexibility on all sides, but it can be done. It's fixable." But can this really be accomplished before May the 6th? To give his thoughts on this story is royal commentator and broadcaster Rafe Heydel-Mankoo. Rafe, how are you today?
Always well, pleasure to be on again, Calvin.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Do you think these peace talks can be achieved in a few months that we have before the coronation? What hurdles do they have to overcome?
Well, it all seems very rushed, doesn't it? I mean, the Times is reporting this senior source from the palace who has the ear of the king saying that they want the king, Prince William and Prince Harry to have a reconciliation by April, at which point the wives would be invited into discussions, Meghan and Kate, perhaps with Queen Camilla, who knows, so that they can all be happy families by May the 6th. I think that's a rather tall order. I mean, the first thing is, of course, how can Prince William and the King have any trust in Harry and Meghan that they're sincere, first and foremost, and secondly, that they won't divulge these private discussions and mediation talks either in a TV interview or with the in another book? You can't go off and start on that sort of a basis. And then again, when Harry and Meghan live in an alternative reality where, you know, where black is white and up is down, with this completely distorted version of the truth, as we've seen from the falsehoods and the inaccuracies and the distortions of truth in their book, how can you even begin to actually engage in meaningful discussion with people who don't actually see reality in the way that you do? And also, of course, Harry is demanding as a prerequisite for these negotiations or reconciliations that the palace and that the royal family apologise not only to him, but also to his wife, to Meghan. And how can you, if you are the Prince and Princess of Wales, for example, how can you actually apologise and turn the other cheek when you know full well that you're not in the wrong? Now, you know, Prince William is all for putting country first, but this is really surely a limit, I would have said. And then another issue here really is that we've seen recently that Harry's got this messiah complex. He seems increasingly arrogant and self-righteous, which is a dangerous combination for a man of limited intellect and ability. And he somehow thinks he's on a mission to reform the media and, most importantly, to reform the monarchy. And in that sort of way, he's actually, I suppose, the epitome of woke, because he thinks he's enlightened and the royal family is unenlightened. And it's his job to open their eyes and teach them, even if they don't want to be taught, which I would say is the very definition of woke. But how can you have a meeting of minds on an equal level when you're dealing with someone who's convinced that they're actually right?
Absolutely. It sounds like he doesn't want to compromise. In fact, it sounds like he wants to denigrate the role of not just Prince of Wales, but also the King, because this is obviously an issue with the future King that he has. And he wants him to effectively get down on his knee to him.
Yes, and you know what? I'm actually quite angry at this, because the King has been placed in this, this invidious position just 4 months before the coronation, when all attention, the whole nation should be focused on the monarchy, on the King setting out his new role, the Commonwealth realms being introduced to the King for the first time as their King because they don't know him so well. And at a time when we're supposed to be focusing on national unity and harmony and looking forward to this great ceremonial and constitutional event, the first time in 70 years, we instead have this, this nasty and destructive melodrama that's, sucking all of the attention away from what should be the most important event in 70 years. And then at the same time as all of this, just when, when the royal family think that Harry's fired his last, broadside against them, he now says, well, I actually held back the most explosive content from the book. Just wait and see. If I wanted to, I could publish a second, even more incendiary volume. Now, what is that if that's not a threat? It seems as if Harry's almost blackmailing the royal family. Engage with me, reconcile and apologise to me, or else.
Yeah, they have a book deal for 3 books, I believe, isn't it? And it doesn't have to be a biography for the next book. So it does seem a threat. I thought they were going to write something else, like a children's book. Do you think Harry's made himself a bit of a distraction here on purpose in the run-up to the coronation by publishing this book now?
Well, it's hard to see things otherwise. It's actually a 4-book deal, and we know that Meghan's been keeping a diary. So anyone who thinks that it's game over for all these revelations and scandal, they've got another thing coming. But what I should say, actually, is that Harry and Meghan were always hoping to have a reconciliation down the line. Why? Because they know that without the royal family, they're nothing. All of their wealth, all of their status, all of their relevance depends upon their association with the royal family. And
Or they
what
need
we
more
know,
content for the book, don't they?
well, I said last year in the spring or in the summer, and it was reported elsewhere also, that Harry and Meghan's plan originally had to fulfill their obligations with Netflix and Random House publishers to get this money by putting out this documentary and this book, and then waiting a long time before approaching reconciliation. And as I said at the time, no one expected the Queen to die so early, and the anticipation had been maybe in later this year or 2024, 2025, when the Queen died, that would be the time to magnanimously have a reconciliation by the Sussexes. What better time than when a family is grieving for a family to come together and have reconciliation? But of course, things didn't turn out that way. And of course, as soon as the Queen died, as we know from reports, Harry was desperately trying to edit or delay publication of this book, knowing the damage that would be caused by it coming out when it did. But of course, he wasn't successful in that, and it has come out as it has. And that's why I think chances of a reconciliation are far not less likely now than they would have been had their original plan come to fruition.
I tend to agree with you. Thank you so much. That was the royal commentator and broadcaster, Rafe Heydel-Mankoo.